Good evening and thanks for joining us. Another person has died after being inoculated with a COVID-19 jab, with the city recording 3 cases of people dying after receiving the Sinovac vaccine. A government expert committee held a meeting today to discuss the incidents. Kim has details.
Another unfortunate case of a person dying after receiving a COVID jab. The latest incident involves a 71-year-old man who was vaccinated at a private clinic last Wednesday. He fell into a coma late Sunday night and was rushed to United Christian Hospital, where he died at the accident and emergency department. The man is said to have no history of chronic illness other than suffering from a thyroid problem some 20 years ago. Whether the man's death is related to his vaccination is still unknown. So far, Hong Kong has recorded 3 cases of people dying after receiving Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine shots. This includes a 63-year-old man and a 55-year-old woman. Both are chronic disease patients, and the government's expert committee on clinical events assessment believes their deaths are not directly related to their vaccinations. This morning, a 65-year-old woman suffered from heart palpitations and chest discomfort after being inoculated.
We will expect there will be an increase in number of these adverse events related to vaccination. With more and more people get vaccinated, then most of people who are visiting the healthcare system, they would have a record history of vaccination.
She received her jab at Kwun Chung Sports Center in Jordan and was rushed to the hospital for treatment. Despite 3 deaths post-vaccination, the government believes the vaccination program should continue.
Well, vaccination has given us a ray of hope, and therefore, according to the experts, the approved vaccines are regarded as safe and have quality assurance, and overall speaking, the benefit outweighs the risks.
There are also calls for the government to approve the use of the electronic health record sharing system, or e-health, at vaccination centers. This will allow the center's medical staff to examine the health records of vaccine recipients and assess their suitability. But the government has dismissed the suggestion.
It's not appropriate for them to have e-health ready, so that before taking the jab, everybody will have to check their e-health record with the doctor there, because that's not supposed to be the case.
NIP also said anyone who is worried about the vaccines or their own health should carefully consider their options before getting the jab. KW TVB News.
Meanwhile, Hong Kong is ramping up the COVID-19 vaccination campaign with 7 more priority groups. They include catering, construction, and tourism sector workers who can book their shots starting 9 a.m. 1.3 million more people would be included in priority groups in the government's COVID-19 vaccination program. Among these high-contact, high-risk frontline workers are those working in catering, supermarkets, and convenience stores. Also covered are teaching staff, delivery, public transport, and tourism sector labor, registered construction workers, as well as property management personnel. Those working at gyms, beauty parlors, and other government-specified establishments are also on the list. Starting at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, they can make a booking for their vaccination online.
Vaccination is an essential part of us resuming our normal lives, and the vaccines are also precious. Hong Kong is both lucky and fortunate to be able to receive a supply of vaccines.
The government will consider relaxing anti-epidemic measures for businesses whose staff received both the first and booster shots. There will also be 12 more vaccination centers open for administering the BioNTech jabs, starting March 16th till the 30th. That entails 140,000 more booking slots available. On top of that, starting on Wednesday, authorities are extending the online booking period for vaccinations by 1 additional day. That means the daily quota for the BioNTech vaccine will be wrapped up by 16,000, and for Sinovac, a hike of 6,000. So far, 93,000 people have received their first jabs since the rollout of the vaccination program on February 26th. Among them, 98% were inoculated with the Sinovac shots, with the remaining 1,200 having taken the BioNTech jabs. The city reported 9 new coronavirus infections, with 6 of them locally acquired. Authorities could not find the sources of 4 of these cases. They involve a 36-year-old security guard, a 48-year-old waitress, a 41-year-old housewife, and a 35-year-old project coordinator. All of them had symptoms such as a fever and coughing. The Center for Health Protection urged the public to minimize social activities and dining out. And surprise lockdowns are back, this time at a building in Chimsha-Choi. At 8:30 p.m., authorities sealed off TST Mansion on Nathan Road. One of today's cases with an untraceable source stayed at the hostel. Residents of the building have until 2 a.m. to undergo testing. An exception applies to those who are able to produce a recent negative test result. However, they will still be required to stay indoors until the operation is complete. Major movie theater chain UA Cinemas has ceased all operations in Hong Kong. The company says it has been hit hard by the pandemic and has no other choice. Dong Yuanye has more.